This is the fourth installment for the transition piece tutorial project, and we are going to do letter D in this one. And it's a circle that looks like the center line is offset to be in line with the bottom square. It's actually similar to A, and it's just the top diameter has been moved over. Alright, so let's go to AutoCAD and let's get going. Okay, so as my typical method is, I'm going to draw a circle and centered on the origin, and we're going to make that 8 inches in diameter or a radius of 4. Now it appears to me in the drawing that the center line of the circle is in line with the edge of the square on the bottom, so that's how we're going to try to set this up. Alright, in this case I'm going to go ahead and draw an old school square and show you that there are some advantages of using the rectangle command. So we're going to go from center up, and then we're going to go from center right, and I want to make sure ortho's on here. Actually, I don't know if that one was drawn correctly. Let's do that over. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to do an offset of 6 in the front and back direction, and then we're going to exit and we're going to come back in and we're going to do an offset of 12 for the last line. And we're going to use the extend command if we can to extend what we can. Okay, looks like I'm going to need to draw an extra line out here for extend to work. And then we'll trim all the tails off. Alright, so now we want to do a move. But before we do that, because we do this individual line segments, the loft command needs it as one continuous piece. So we do that by the join command. Join. And we select the entities we want to join together, which are the 4 individual line segments. And then we hit enter, and now we should be able to select on it as one square. So when you actually use the rectangle tool, it's automatically doing that step for you. Okay, we're going to go to move, and we're going to move that square with ortho on. We're going to go from one corner, we're going to go straight down, and we're going to go a distance of 12 inches. So now we should have our offset circle with our square. Now we need to make an index point. Just like the other ones, we have these flat faceted sides with variable fillets transitioning to 0 radius. So we need to mimic that, and we need guide curves at the transition points for that. So let's go back to AutoCAD, and we're going to draw us a line, and we need to make sure our object snaps include center, which that one does, and that ortho's on. We're going to draw past our circle, and we're going to repeat that. And then we can come back and trim the tails off, and we can extend them to break our circle into quadrants. Now we're going to do the same thing we've done on all the parts. We're going to connect the corners. I'm going to turn ortho off. Connect the corners with triangles to the quadrants of the circle. Alright, so we should have something that looks like this. We can now delete the lines we used for the quadrant. Alright, now we're ready to go on to the loft command. Go to solid, pull down on sweep and select loft. We're going to pick our two profiles. And now we're going to hit enter and we're going to select guides. And we want to make sure we get them all and do them in order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if we did everything right, we should have a solid. We will go to shaded and confirm that. We have our solid with our transition duct. Alright, so now we're going to add on to the top of this using press pull. We're going to select our circle. We're going to go 2 inches. There we go, we got our top. Okay, so I'm not sure. You could shell this like we have the other ones. I'm having trouble getting this model to shell. I can't get it to shell. I've tried for several hours. But I am going to show you another technique to derive at what we want. And we are basically going to develop the same loft that's an 1/8 inch smaller. So to do so, we basically repeat all the steps we've done with smaller dimensions. I'm going to switch to the construction layer so that the subtractive model is on that layer. I'll make sure I'm on world coordinates. Okay, so first we're going to start with offsetting geometry on the bottom of the part. And our offset is going to be 0.125. And we're selecting the rectangle that we used. I'm going to switch to wireframe mode. And that geometry, I want to move it to the construction layer. So it should turn that blue, light blue, which is called cyan. Now we're going to go up to the top and draw a circle on the origin. And it's going to have a diameter of 7.75, so 1/4 inch smaller in diameter, which gives us an 1/8 width wall thickness. Okay, at this point we have everything we need from the model layer, so I'm going to freeze the model layer temporarily, and we have our 2 circles. Now of course we need to create our indexing on the circle. So let's go to our circle and draw lines. And make sure ortho's on. And then we can use the extend command to extend and toggle over to trim. And we're more or less going to oops, why did we lose the whole thing? Okay, we're going to repeat the steps we did for the larger solid. We're going to take a line and we're going to go from the corners with ortho off and connect the dots. So from index line to corner to corner. Okay, so when we're all said and done, you should have a series of triangles. And now I'm going to delete our index lines just to clean it up. Alright, so we're going to go solid. We're going to do a loft, and we're going to select our rectangle and our circle, and then we're going to hit enter. We're going to pick our guidelines, and we got to make sure that we're selecting our guidelines and not the solid patch lines. So look for where the triangles come together, and there should be 8 of them. Hit enter, and we should have a solid now. So if we go home, we should see a solid. Now we're going to do a press pull on the top of 2 inches, just like we had on the other one. All right, let's go back to the unfreeze the model layer, which brings our bigger model in. Okay, so we wanted to switch to the model layer, and we want to do the solid subtract. We want to make sure we select the outside model first, hit enter, and then we need to select the inner model, and so we'll see the wireframe of it kind of highlight. And we got it, and we hit enter, and it's now subtracted the interior of the large model. Okay, now what we need to do is build our base at the bottom. Let's try press pull. Doesn't always work well. And we're trying to pick up on just the outside rim. There we go. We're going to press pull down 2 inches. All right, so we were able to do it. It's quite a few more steps. It would have been great if the shell command worked. If you can get it to work, kudos to you. I wasn't able to. Now, it looks like for some reason this press pull didn't merge with the main solid. There may be a little bevel on the bottom, something. Anyway, before we slice this in half, we need to merge those bodies. So let's go ahead and do that. And now it's all one piece. So now we're going to pick on slice. We're going to pick our model. We're going to hit enter, and we're going to use 3 points. And make sure you have midpoint on your object snaps, because we're going to pick the center of this edge, the center of the edge above it, and then we'll pick the intersection here. And we're going to keep both sides. So we've split it right down the center. And now we're going to do a rotate. And select your 1/2. We're going to hit enter, and our rotation point will be down here on the bottom. And we'll go 120 degrees. Now I've got this extraneous bit of geometry. I would go ahead and delete that. Go ahead and delete that. So you should have this, and that concludes the D transition piece. Now we have one left, and that's the E. And hopefully that one's straightforward. It looks like it's an oval instead of a round duct. Alright, so we'll see you on the next one, and we'll finish off transition piece E.